or I can do it. Okay.
There you go.
Hello, everybody. We are live with Yester Daze. I am Liz Imperiali with Bucketlist. Hi, guys.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. We were just chatting a little bit before, getting to know each other a little bit. We already kind of talked about this, but how are you guys dealing with the whole COVID situation? And, you know, we had a really bad snowstorm today. We're all Montrealers, so that's pretty cool. How are you guys like coping with everything right now as musicians?
Should I go first? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, you go first. For it.
Fine, I'll go first. So I never stopped working because my job is technically essential. So we've been working the entire time, gradually bringing more staff in and more staff out or so. But I got to work, thankfully, the entire pandemic so far. But how I've been kind of making do at home and kind of how we've all been making do music-wise is we all have like our own little kind of recording setups to get demos out, since we can't really jam together anymore just because of, you know, the curfew and certain restrictions and stuff like that. So it's a little trickier. So I'll have an idea and then I'll send it to Matt and Zach and be like, do what you will with it. And then it kind of comes back. And that's how we've been writing.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of bands are doing that these days. I mean, there's no choice right now, I guess, but at least you're trying, you know. Some are just like waiting and holding off until this is over. So yeah.
We're pretty lucky. I'm in the same situation as Brandon, because we have the same job, and so that's kind of a bonus for us too. Is the fact that we work together. We get to discuss face to face a lot more often than a lot of people could. So that's really nice for that. But apart from that, yeah, it's just sending files to each other and stuff.
Do you guys like live roughly kind of close to each other in Montreal, or are you in different parts of?
Me and Matt live close together. Yeah. So he's in Pointe Claire. I'm in Dorval. Zach lives in Pencourt now. He just moved, so I don't remember if it's Pencourt.
Oh, you guys are West Islanders.
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up in the West Island, so there you go. Okay. Yeah. I grew up in Dollard. Pierrefonds and Dollard.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cute. So tell myself and our followers the history of Yester Daze. You guys have been around now since 2018. How did you meet? How did you decide to form this project? How did it come about? In detail, tell us the story.
Okay, so I'll take over again, just because actually the band was originally a solo project and they were just like my backup essentially. So at the time I was a solo artist and I did an EP all by myself with the studio, the same one we've always worked with, Avery. So I played everything on it, but live, that's not really possible. So I kind of called Zach because Zach, I've been playing with him since we were in like grade 9. So we actually all went to the same high school, but only me and Zach knew each other, and me and Matt knew of each other, but didn't actually talk at all. So I mean, he's a very quiet kid. So like I didn't even know he played drums until I graduated and went back the year after, and then he was playing, and I was like, oh. Okay. So I called Zach. And then we had another drummer playing with us at the time, and he couldn't do it anymore. So Zach's like, I'll bring Matt in because me and Matt have chemistry. You and I have chemistry. It should be a good work for at least, you know, just for the couple of shows we have scheduled. So we did that. And then it worked really well, and we just kept playing together. We never really stopped, even though it was still under my name. We kept going, but then we gradually started to have our own sound. So like, whatever ideas I kind of brought, we started to work on it as a band versus just me being like, hey, play this, thanks. So we worked together on it as a band, and then everyone's influences started to kind of blend together, because we do have more or less the same influences, but everyone has like a different way of writing, and it kind of finally started to like get that proper chemistry. So I just felt bad too, because everyone always considered it just Brandon McShad, which, you know, obviously being my name, that's what people consider it. No one really gave them credit, even though I was always telling people, you know, they have just as much writing credits as I do, even though it's under my name. It was kind of more like a Bowie thing where, you know his musicians, but it's just David Bowie because of that's what it is right now. But eventually I got fed up. And so I remember one night I hit up Matt being like, I'm kind of annoyed at this. You want to become a band? And then for like 2 months, we were just running through names that were either taken or just like not good. Until we finally settled on this name, which was a collab of like all three of us kind of. So we all had like a bunch of different things, and we just sent it to each other. And Matt had this longer version of our name, which was Yester Daze Mirage. and it fit the theme that we
I
had.
don't even remember that.
I remember everything, dude. I'm an elephant. I remember everything. So, yeah, so he brought that, and it fit the theme we were going for with our lyrics and with how we write and stuff. But I found it was way too long because I love bands that are like stadium bands. So
Right.
I'm used to, the chants and stuff like that. I'm like, there has to be chantable, you know what I mean? So if either 3 syllables or like 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, how about Yester Daze, but split into 2, and then like days because like we're in a daze because I was trying to be edgy with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and,
definitely the name. Before I actually listened to you guys, I assumed that, and before like just learning anything, reading anything, I assumed based on that name that you were like a stoner rock band. So
no,
really not the case.
Actually, like in terms of the band too, it's mainly me and Zach that partake in that kind of stuff. Not really Matt. Matt's our little innocent boy. He keeps us grounded.
Is he the emo guy? Is Matt? Matt, are you the emo person in the band? Are there
I wouldn't
any?
consider myself to be. No.
Okay.
Mainly me.
Okay.
I don't know. Nobody's really emo.
Well, not anymore because the hair's shorter now, but yeah, I had the biggest emo phase. So, like when I started listening to music when I was really young, same thing, I kind of looked the part, which sounds really mean to say that because I've always hated when people kind of refer to it that way, but like I fit the trend, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, and then like last year I got really into My Chemical Romance again and helped myself emo like an ass, but yeah.
It seems like emo has really made a comeback because everybody that is admitting this now that they used to be emo, and now they're like, yeah, well, I started listening to My Chemical Romance again, and like it all started in the last year or so. Everybody's just emo is coming back. And I'm not a fan of emo at all. So I'm just like,
my kind of became a classic recently. I noticed like in the past few years, a lot of people have been talking about the Black Parade a lot more for some reason, and it's kind of come back. Yeah.
Right. It really has. And when I read that My Chemical Romance was one of your influences, I do like some My Chemical Romance. I will admit that, like they do. So I was kind of like interesting because you have very, like you said, very diverse influences in your music, and I can hear it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we try because like it's really hard nowadays when like almost every song's been written. You know what I mean? Like you can't really own a chord progression, so like everything's been written. So it's really hard to have like some form of an original sound.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, we've all been playing together for so many years. So like this is after this many years of what we have. Like our earlier stuff, like my stuff was garbage before before we became a band. Like looking back on it now, like we've come such a long way. And I'm very happy we have. So.
Yeah, never give up. Keep going. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And so you have an EP coming out, Yours to Follow. That's coming out on February 26th, I believe. Yeah. Yes. So you have a pretty awesome team backing you up with the making of this EP. You have Dave from Freak Shop. I believe you also had Harry Hess, who did Billy Talent, 3 Days Grace. He mastered the album. So can you talk about your experiences and the process making this EP, like how the whole thing went? What were your experiences like with working with these guys?
Well, we, if I remember correctly, we started recording the songs with Matt before making any of those, bigger name connections, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then we got this little gig at Rockalypse, and Brandon was wearing some bright pink suit or something, very, very flashy. And Dave happened to be there and noticed us, and he contacted us basically because of that, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how we started working with Dave. He started meeting up with us, talking to us, helping us out, giving us, suggestions, tips and tricks on what we should do in the studio and with the material on social media, for example, stuff. So he was a really, really big help for all of this. And then he hooked us up with Harry Hess and everything. And yeah, that's basically, we knew Matt. I think Brandon, you knew him from high school, right?
No, so Matt, I met him at high school, but like he wasn't actually in our school. I think he went to Riverdale, but he played at like a battle of the bands. And at the time he had just started what was called Acoustic Studios at the time, which turned into Appbury. And he was like 16 and he was handing out his card to everyone being like, if you ever want to record demos, come to me. So I was like, okay, whatever. So like 3 years later, when I started writing my own songs, I hit him up being like, hey, you want to like work together? So Matt's been with us from the beginning. So like he knows our sound, I think, besides us the best, maybe even better, because sometimes he'll know what to do that we just couldn't think of, but like subconsciously we're all thinking of. Like he's really he's just as much a part of the band as like us three. So you know, honestly, he's a huge reason why we sound like
there's like parts watching right now. Give him a bit of a shout out.
Yeah, Matt knows it.
Yeah,
because there's like parts in songs where like, for instance, like our song "Light It Up," the ending of it, the way it ends now, it was never there in the beginning. Even when we went into the studio, it was only once we were in the studio, Matt brought up this idea, oh, you should end it with this fill and like just strum out these massive notes on the guitar. And then it came to be like that, and it made the ending like way better. So I don't know. I think we owe a lot to him. He's always been there, and he's been good to us.
That's good. It's good that you're so loyal to him, you know, and it is a very nicely sounding EP, that's for sure. So it's nice that you're sticking with this guy, and you had a few others jump in a little bit, but that's cool.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of people come to us after like we've dropped songs, being like, "You guys, your stuff sounds ridiculous." Like for like a band that kind of has like, not to be rude, like I love you guys, but like we're kind of new here. No one really knows us yet, so like we're still like people are still kind of learning about us. So like compared to like our contemporaries and like our same level, I guess, of fame, like we've gotten a lot of like praise for how our production sounds. But to us, it's always been important, just because, again, I've been working with Matt. So Matt himself has gone better over the years with his production. And then Dave, after he hit us up, because like Zach, my pink suit, was just interested in helping us out. And then after he offered a mix, and then we sent him one, he did it, and it blew us away. So we're like, okay, so that's a good idea. So we're going to work with him for that. And then he brought up Harry. He was like, honestly, Harry does bands that you like. And he's from Toronto. He's like, so it's cool because, you know, there's that network too. So if you want to start breaking into there, you know, exactly. He's like, and he's not like, he's just a super nice guy. Like Harry's actually like super sweet. He's been nothing but sweet to us, even though, again, you know, to us, we're still like a new band, but like to have him treat us the same as he treats, you know, Muse, Billy Talent, 3 Days Grace is pretty ridiculous. So
that's what matters. And honestly, you guys are, for a new band, you have a pretty awesome group of people backing you up. You've got Looters, you know, I've been working with them for years, and they're fantastic. You know, you have these great guys who've helped you make your EP, and these connections already. So you're off to a really good start. So, I mean, new or not, like this, you already have a pretty good portfolio to back you up. So, and the EP is freaking awesome. I listened to it and I'm just like, damn, like it's really good. Like I'm not, and I don't usually, like, if I'm not a big fan, I won't just proactively say I won't say anything. If I have nothing really like that nice to say, but I really want to praise you guys on this EP. It's really, really, really good. It's really catchy. And, I know, like you mentioned your influences in your bio, and I've read it around, but I hear a little bit of like a Fu Manchu in there too. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but like I do hear a little bit of them as well. So
they're in that whole stoner rock type.
Yeah, I'm a stoner rock band, so I hear a little bit, like just a little, and a lot of Foo Fighters for sure.
Yeah,
so,
that might pull a little bit from me, just that whole sort of more stoner rock, maybe qualities. I think I'm the only one that really listens to sludge and a bit of stoner. But we mix and match all of our ideas. We don't have a sort of we have Brandon main braining some bigger ideas sometimes, but then, you know, details and riffs and stuff will kind of come from everywhere and everyone, even if they're not necessarily involved with the part itself, you know. We'll have, you know, we'll throw ideas to Matt for drum fills, and he'll throw us some ideas for riffs and stuff. So it's really fun for that. We're getting a bit of everyone's spices.
Spices, yes.
Are there any like plans of doing any live streams or anything, like while we're stuck in, you know, hibernation mode, COVID?
Yeah, I know there's a station in Toronto, actually, a college station hit us up and they want us to do a potential live session. I think it's confirmed for now.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing that one soon. And then we ourselves had a plan for something eventually to kind of celebrate the EP being out on our end. So since we can't do an actual show, we were kind of we're still thinking about it because again, like it's more yes than no, but because of again restrictions and stuff like that, we have to figure out how we're going to get around to doing it.
Right.
It won't really be a live stream though. We're kind of more, we don't want, because some people are asking us, why don't you do like some of your bands are doing like that, you like that, you know, you pay like $15, you can watch it live. We'd rather just give it to people for free to watch and more than once. So we're probably, if we do one, it's going to go straight to YouTube, but we're going to do it so it sounds really good. It looks really good visually. It's almost like being at our shows.
Okay.
Those are pretty fun. Unfortunately, no one can really see us in the flesh right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of want to do as much justice to the EP and to us as we could with whatever we have right now. So we're kind of just waiting on the restrictions, which started loosening up a bit today. But
yeah, they just announced today. I think I just checked in right before getting together with you guys. Did they lower the, or did they extend the curfew to like night?
I think that's supposed to be, I don't know all the details, but apparently it's going to be like a later curfew or something, and all non-essential businesses can open or something like that, like stores and barbershops, hair salons, stuff like that, I think. Okay. Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Like, do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, how do you think about this whole, like, what do you think about this whole thing?
It's so hard. It's so hard just because, like, you know, no matter what decision anyone would make, it wouldn't necessarily be the right one, at least for everybody. So it's just like, I'm just happy they're doing something at least. You know, there's lots of states where they're not really caring about it. So I'm pretty happy at least we've got that going. But it's hard to either disagree or agree, I find.
Yeah, it's all over the place. I'm just kind of like rolling my eyes at this point. Like, I just want to get it over with and just move on with my life. I really miss going to shows, and so it's been a shit show basically. But hopefully it'll calm down soon. And hopefully. So what is your guys's, like, let's say once this is over, what would be your dream tour? Like, who would you love to tour with?
Oh boy.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, we did just post the other day, or was it yesterday? It was yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did see that before, but I'm still gonna ask anyways. So you can see it.
Gosh, I don't know. Well, it's not a dream show; it's a dream tour. So I guess that's different.
Yeah. If it's dream tour,
like tour,
like
on the road with somebody. Yeah.
I honestly, any of like I guess I'd say our big three influences is like Foos, Muse, and Royal Blood. So any of those three would be amazing. I think right now the most possible one would, not that, you know, it's going to happen, but I'm saying the one that I could see it most likely happening would be like Royal Blood, since they're not like, they're massive, but they're not Foo Fighters level yet, where it's like, you know, a small band like us from West Island could kind of, you know, open. And I find our sounds a little more similar to them, even though they kind of gone a bit of a heavy dancier route. They still have kind of the same heavy tones that we do, but with almost like pop melody vocals, which is kind of what we like to do, is blend the heavy with the more typical kind of pop melodies, just because I grew up listening to a lot of stuff like that. So naturally I always do stuff like that with my voice. But so I'd say Royal Blood, or even like Pretty Reckless is something that I could see being possible too. But Foos, Muse, or like Royal Blood is the dream easily, especially Foo Fighters, since all three of us it's like a huge like influence.
Have you guys seen Foo Fighters before?
Yes.
Yeah. When was the last time you saw them?
Me, it was in 2011 when they played at the Bell Center.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. That's a while ago.
Yeah.
And mine was 2018 in Toronto, which is a whole other story, just because that day was a mess. I worked the day before, flew in the morning of, but the thing was there was like a lockdown in the city. There was a bomb threat. So I kind of get on the plane and why does it keep getting delayed? And my sister texts me like, yo, there's a bomb threat. The citywide is like locked down right now. I'm like, no way. Like, the day I'm supposed to see them after like 8 years of waiting. I might not get to go see them. And then I got on the plane and got there. I mean, no one was really freaking out. Some people were, and they were selling their tickets for like $1 because they just really wanted to get rid of it. I was like, you know what? I've waited 8 years. Like, if I die after the show, I'll be okay. Like, I could die happy after that. It was worth it. I was 8th row because I was on the floor, and I was so lucky to get that close up because, like, no pun intended, but like Dave's like my hero. Like, he really did a lot for me throughout high school and stuff. I know it's a bad pun. I really didn't mean to do it, but I cried at that show multiple times. Especially at the end when it was done, I was like, oh my god, like it finally happened, and like the day was such a mess. So like when it was finally all said and done, I was like, wow.
Oh my God, so worth it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I actually have always been a huge Dave Grohl fan. More even when he was in Nirvana, I never was a fan of Nirvana. I just was a fan of Dave. So when the whole thing happened with Kurt and Dave started his own band, I actually have. You guys are going to probably squeal at this, but back in '90s, because I'm old, so back in '96. Eddie Vedder hosted his own show on that Showm actually broadcasted. It was coming from Seattle, and I recorded the whole thing on tape. And he played 2 Foo Fighters songs before any of their music was released. He's like, yeah, Dave Grohl just gave me a demo of his new band, and I'm going to play 2 songs right now. And it was Exhausted and another one off of the first album, I'm forgetting now. And I have those on tape, like before any. So I freaked out because that was the first time I've ever heard of Foo Fighters. And then I actually saw them at Foof's like not too long after that.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so I was just like, that's when I saw you guys were like love Foo Fighters. I was like, okay, we're gonna get along really well because I love Foo Fighters. I'm a huge fan. So, and I hear it in your music. I really do hear a little bit of Foo Fighters influence. So. Yeah, it's I'm stoked for you guys for this album to be, or this EP to be released, because I think it's going to do really well, honestly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So this is a question that we like to ask all of our victims in our interviews. So what's I know we were kind of covering a few like things that are similar to this, but what's left on Yester Daze's bucket list? Like, what are your ultimate goals that you have for the career of Yester Daze?
A lot.
We all have our own, and then a couple that are sort of one that we all want. I don't know if you guys have any specific venues or whatnot you'd like to play at.
I do.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I'm sure we could all agree on this. There's a bunch of festivals that I like would love to play. So like anything in the UK is like a goal for me. So like Reading and Leeds, Glastonbury.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, like it's always been like a rite of passage. I've noticed like every band that I've looked up to has been there at one point or another. And it's always cool to see because they'll like play like the afternoon opening slot, and then like a couple of years later they're like headlining almost. So it's always been like something that's really cool about like the UK, that they kind of really love their music, that like no matter who comes, they just enjoy music, that they just vibe so much.
Yeah.
I think Argentina and Brazil would be blessed just because the crowds are a whole other level of like crazy, but in the best way. Like I would love it. So definitely that, and then places like obviously stadiums are like a plan too. Like Wembley would be great just because some of my favorite shows have been at Wembley, so it's just like down the line, it'd be cool to play there. But for now, honestly, I think we spoke about this before. I think us, like something so simple like we could all agree on is like playing Mtellus, or
Metropolis.
Yeah. So playing Foofs would be amazing. Like we've always wanted to play Foofs, so that'd be incredible to do that, and then eventually playing Mtellus. I think a little dream that we've all talked about too, ever since we've been working with Dave, was eventually opening for the Damn Truth, just because like they're incredible and like we love them to death. Like honest to God, they're like such great people, and like they've been so kind to us. So like we always talk about like, yeah, we're gonna cry when we open for them, and it's like to some people it's like, oh, I mean, it's just like, what about like Foo Fighters and stuff? But like the Damn Truth, like I remember like 10 years ago first hearing them on like Showm, and it blew me away. I was like, wait, there's still stuff like being made like this. This is amazing. So 10 years later, to see yourself working with one of the members and have the band, really enjoying what you do it's insane. So yeah, I definitely say I think playing Foofs, Metropolis, and playing with Damn Truth would be like a goal for now. Down the line, can't really say anything yet because like I don't think we're playing Wembley next year.
Baby steps. You'll get there. I'm pretty sure you'll get there. Like just keep going. Yeah, don't give up. Anything else? Like any travel plans, music, like anybody that you want to work with or anything?
I mean, Mtellus was one that was gonna bring up too. It's just my favorite venue in the area. It's just everything sounds good over there, and it's always great shows. So that's really sort of a closer to home bucket list item. I think I'd want to check off ideally within the next few years. You know, if not, just getting a decent tour running sounds like a dream come true. Honestly, it's just something I've always wanted to at least try, at least do. But yeah, no, it's just more general sort of stuff. You know, just you know, playing a stadium, doing a tour or whatnot. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe you guys will tour with Damn Truth. I see that happening. Yeah, they're really good people. So I kind of, you never know when everything's back to normal. You shall see
what happens.
Yeah, it's too bad that you're releasing your EP like now, because like you can't really like play these awesome shows during this period, but like at the same time it's good to release music because everyone's home and can listen to it. So it's like we're so torn right now with everything, but yeah, I'm excited for you guys once you can start playing shows again, because that's I think you guys are gonna do well.
We're crazy excited for that too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So now I have a series of more like fun questions that I will ask. So if there was a zombie apocalypse, which one of your bandmates would die first?
Zach.
Yeah.
What?
Wow, that was a quick answer.
Wow.
I love you.
I say you, Brendan, but it's okay.
It's Matt's living. Matt's going to survive.
Well, yeah, Matt was surviving easy. Why am I dying first?
It's because of this. Our dynamic, one of us is going to die first during the argument, and Matt's going to be smart enough to leave. So, yeah, either me or Zach, I could say. 100%.
Yeah,
all right.
It's coin flip at that
point. Where would each member of Yester Daze be in a human centipede?
Oh my gosh. Front.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Peter? Yeah, you're the one that keeps everybody all the shit.
I was gonna say Matt's the type that I would take the fall for him, and I'd eat his ass. He can go in front of me, and I'll go between. And then I'll spare. Or actually, you know, I'll go last, because me and Zach always joke about eating each other's ass. So he can go in the middle, and I'll go behind, and then Matt will lead the way.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, it's perfect because you're three, so it like
exactly
not like a 5 or 6 piece. That would have been complicated, but 3 works. So, okay, so marry, fuck, or kill: Dave Grohl, Gerard Way, or Taylor Momsen?
Oh shit. That's very hard for me, because like I would marry Taylor Momsen. I'd marry Taylor Momsen. I'd fuck Dave, because, you know, my man is the reason why I became the way I did. And unfortunately, as much as Gerard's made such an impact on me in the past few years, I'd unfortunately kill him. I hope he's not watching this, because like a goal of mine is to you know, play with MCR also. So like hopefully, you know, he doesn't hear this and be like, yeah, you're off, kid. You're done. But yeah, Taylor Momsen, she's literally I actually have a poster of her like right up here that's signed. So she's like one of my like rock and roll crushes.
Aww.
So, yeah.
What about you guys? Zach?
I'd marry Dave Grohl instead, I think.
Yeah.
I'd just do that little switcheroo and that's it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Side? Like it's too hard?
Maybe I'll agree with. I don't know, because Dave's a big influence too. Maybe I'll agree with Zach there, I guess.
Yeah. All right. It is a tough decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your band came out in a different era other than this one, which one do you think it would be, and which one do you think would be most successful? You would be most successful in
90s.
Pretty easy 90s, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 90s to like early 2000s, but even then, I'd still say 90s. Like I see shows and like bands like that all the time, and I'm like, we fit pretty well in there, and like we've gone compared to a lot of the 90s acts that we look up to. So I'd imagine it fit way better there than anything else. We're not glam enough for the 80s or even the 70s for that matter, and 60s where we have too much instrumental, like too much screaming, too much effects pedals for the 60s. So I'd say 90s easily.
I agree. Yeah, the 90s would work for sure.
You know, we pull a lot from bands from the 90s too, so it kind of only makes sense. We don't pull a lot, like despite, you know, them being so influential, the Beatles aren't, you know, super apparent in our in our music, I guess. So yeah, no, the 90s would fit best, I think.
Yeah, the 90s were so great. Wish we could go back in time. Okay, so what would each band member's wizard name be, and what would your powers be?
Matt can keep time perfectly.
He already does that.
Nanosecond. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I think your wizard name would be your YouTube name, Zach.
Pepto-Bismol?
Pepto-Abysmal. Yeah.
That'd be such a horrible name.
Yeah, but I mean, some wizard names are pretty crap if you ask me. It's just, just make it simple. You already have it. It's already copyrighted for you. So
What would be yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
It's gonna sound stupid, but like I guess like it came to my head now because I'm an idiot. But like cul-de-sac, just because I always joke that it sounds like a French version of like between a guy's like screaming. Like a cul-de-sac, like almost like a pun, but also like my trick would be pulling shit out of like a bag, so like cul-de-sac. I'm an idiot again.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Oh, God.
That's hilarious. Well, I'm pretty much done with the question portion of this interview. So I think we're good to go for the evening. It's been a bit of a quiet one, but we got some pretty fun responses here. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time with me tonight on this cold and horribly snowy storm night. Did you want to like plug any last minute things, or did you want to say any last words before we log off?
Who wants to go first?
I mean, just shout out to everyone we've been working with so far. Honestly, all of them have been such a great help, and they're they maybe didn't write the music, but they're a huge part as to why it sounds the way it does, and just how huge it sounds too. Especially, it's just we're really happy with everything in terms of the music that we've managed to produce so far, and it's all thanks to Matt, Dave, Harry, all those guys, and everyone in between that helped us out getting in contact and everything. Honestly,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything else?
Oh, I was gonna say I agree with that. Honestly, like if I can name everyone, it'd be way too long. But like everyone who's been a part of this journey so far, and everyone who's like kind of like you guys, thank you so much for doing this. This is incredible. I remember years ago like seeing a couple of bands I looked up to getting like Bucketlist features. I was like, oh, that's kind of something we want to do down the line too. Mm-hmm. So like I remember when we first got the email that you guys were interested in doing a Q&A, I like freaked out because I was like, oh my god, dude, Bucketlist wants to do something with us. So,
are you serious?
Yeah, because like again, back to my solo career, I was like, oh dude, like Bucketlist is like that's kind of like a rite of passage as you move up the chain in like the Montreal scene. And then I didn't really know how to get in contact because I sucked at this back then. But like our entire team, I'm really grateful that like everything they've kind of helped us with. We have a bunch of other stuff kind of in the pipeline that I don't think we could talk about yet, but we're very excited. So
nice.
Yeah, Yester follows out February 26th, as you already mentioned. So for anyone watching this, we're really excited for that. It's cool. It's 4 different songs, so everything is kind of a different flavor of the band. Mm-hmm. But it works really well, surprisingly. So yeah.
Awesome.
Matt?
What to add? I don't know what to add, man.
That's the quiet one. That's like the mysterious, quiet member of the band, obviously. So yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Next week we have Jason with the Arson Choir from California. Super excited for that. Tune in Tuesdays, 9 p.m. We are here live with a different artist every week. And thanks again to you guys, you lovely dudes of Yester Daze, for taking this time. And we will all see you next week. Bye. Ending broadcast.